All right, Star Wars Rebels fans, the Brick City Blockade Star Wars Podcast Network is back with another episode of Rebels Recap here, and lots to talk about. And gentlemen, for the first time, we've got only one episode to break down in our fifth episode back. We're going to be talking about episode 9, Rebel Assault, and we've got a good panel here today. We've got Robin Vogt, Sean Michaud, and Vintage Viewport, Chris Letty himself. So how's it going tonight, gentlemen?
Good, good. How are you guys?
Doing awesome.
Very excited.
All right, good stuff. So, guys, I'm sure now this was recorded on November 13th, 2017. So most of you probably already seen the episode. If you haven't yet, we're going to just spoil the heck out of it for you. So you might want to save this episode for later if you haven't had a chance to watch it yet. But if you're a diehard Star Wars Rebels fan like the rest of us, I'm sure you've already watched it several times like we have and get ready to kick this conversation off. So, guys, my first question to all of you is a little bit inspired by Rebels Recon, the StarWars.com team, Andy Gutierrez. And I'm going to ask each of you, Chris, I'm going to start with you first. The question they posed to everybody, who's the better pilot, Hera Syndulla or Poe Dameron?
Dang, that's a tough question now. I mean, Hera was kicking some butt, flying that X-Wing around. That maneuver that she just stopped and like kind of backed it up and flipped over and shot that defender. It's pretty awesome. I would probably say Poe, but man, it is 1 and 1A in my book.
Blasphemous. Sean, what do you think?
Well, I think I'm going to go off and say Hera just because I think she has more of a advantage of how long she's been doing it more, I think.
Yep.
And I just love her flying style, so.
Absolutely. All right, Robin, break the tie.
Oh, this is tough because being a canon comic book fan and reading the Poe Dameron comic, I can kind of see where Chris is coming from with
right.
Poe Dameron. We know a little bit more about Poe and his abilities as a fighter pilot and as this X-Wing master in many ways, because we've seen him play out in the canon more than Hera technically has been in the canon as a pilot. So my personal preference goes to Poe Dameron because of the knowledge I've gained through the comic books and through the canonized content. However, I go with Poe Dameron, but I want to see what they do with Hera. I think we're going to have some more Hera coming up later on down the road here that might change that opinion.
Yeah, all right. I'm just going to break it right back to the tie because I'm saying Hera. She's the only. I'm sure we'll be talking plenty about Hera because she was really the star of this episode. But for me, she flies that hunk of junk of the Ghost and is, it's basically a freighter ship and it's becomes a key part of the rebellion fleet at the Battle of Scarif. She's flown an A-Wing, a B-Wing, an X-Wing, a Y-Wing. Show me Poe doing that. That's all I got to say. Mic drop.
Throwing it down.
Yeah, not going to drop the mic because then we can't keep having this great conversation here. So, guys, like I said, we're going to talk about Episode 9, Rebel Assault. The synopsis for this one was, Hera leads the rebel attack on the Imperial blockade at Lothal, with Grand Admiral Thrawn determined to stop her. Like I said, this aired on November 13th, 2017. The director was Stuart Lee, and the writers, Stephen Melching and the Dave Filoni. So, guys, let's just, as I mentioned, this is the first episode of Rebels Recap that we've done here in Season 4. That's the first time we've only got one episode to break down, and this one left me feeling a little bit more, but I think we're going to get that after our little bit of a break here. So, again, like we normally do, we're going to talk about our favorite moments and then biggest questions going forward. So, Sean, this is your first time on Rebels Recap so far. So I want to throw it over to you first. Sean, what was your favorite moment from this episode?
It's tough because the whole episode was very interesting, and I loved seeing Hera escaping everything and how she does it. It's just not on her own. She's also just getting help from other people. And I think my favorite part of the episode is probably her trying towards the very end when she's trying to escape the I can't remember his name.
Rook.
Well, yeah, Rook. That fight scene was pretty cool. We actually got to see her in action and throwing punches and all that. So I think that's probably my favorite part of the episode.
Yeah, that was good stuff. Chris, how about you?
He stole my thunder.
Sorry, Chris.
No, it's all right. It's all good. No, it was really, I mean, seeing Hera flying the X-Wing was amazing, but showing her fighting ability, I was really surprised at her hand-to-hand combat. She was holding her own against Rook, who's he's an assassin. And yeah, I thought that was pretty good. I mean, he got the best of her, but it was still, she put up a pretty good fight. And I think, just showing that side of her gives her more depth, which I really liked.
Yeah, she definitely starred in this episode big time. Robin, how about you, my friend?
I have to admit, my favorite part, I love everything that happened with Hera in this episode. I think her character progression has been absolutely amazing just in this season alone. Thank you to season 3 for really building it up. But I have to bring it back to towards the end when we see Kanan turning back towards Lothal and he's riding, and suddenly the Lothwolf appears again. And it's like he's conflicted. He's like, what's going on here in this situation? But there's obviously that calling there. Just that sequence there. It was a little bit, there was a little bit of it that kind of reminded me of Looper, a little bit of more of a cinematic feel at that moment. But obviously there's a lot more happening with Kanan, so that's my moment.
Yeah, and Kevin Kiner just...
Second moment as well, Robin, after.
Yeah, Kevin Kiner did awesome with that. I love the theme, Robin, that he appears to have developed for the Lothwolf. And we've kind of heard the undertones of it several different times. And I've already grabbed the audio clip from the StarWars.com episode guide for this. And they've been doing a great job this season. Shout out to the StarWars.com team. At least having like a little bit of a clip from Kevin Kiner for each of the episodes so far this season. So I've been able to drop several of them in some of our previous Rebels recaps up to now, but it's chilling. It's kind of haunting and chilling, and it's just, you want to know more. And I have a feeling that's going to be what we're going to talk about in a little bit. Guys, I'm totally pumped that I actually, for the first time this season, I think get to talk about my favorite moment. Nobody's mentioned it, although Chris, you did a little bit at the very beginning, but
yeah,
it's Hera in the X-Wing just being a complete badass. And like I mentioned, she's flown all the different main fighter pilot ships that the Rebellion has at this time in the timeline. But the fact that Kevin Kiner worked in the Rebel fanfare a little bit right before she made that maneuver that Chris just described. But it's funny, Thrawn, and we all love Thrawn here at the Brick City Blockade podcast network, and he factored in so many of these different things. But even I almost have a feeling that he has so much respect and admiration for Harrison Dula. I mean, she's the focus of a lot of his efforts, and continually the last couple episodes, she's done things that Thrawn has not expected. And it's funny, it happened in 0 Hour, and it happened here again. If you are part of the Imperial fleet, you do not disagree with what Thrawn tells you to do. We had Sakaris or the pilot in the TIE Defender there. He's like, nope, I'm going to do my own thing. And Thrawn's like, you really don't want to do that. And he's just kind of sitting there with his arms crossed. He's kind of like, yeah, I told you so. But even all that, he had the ability and the foresight to make sure that their feeble attempt was definitely going to go down in flames. And I want to say Jim was actually the one that talked about it last week, where I think he even alluded to the fact that we knew it wasn't probably going to go all that well, because really, per Rogue One and the crawl for A New Hope, that we know the Battle of Scarif was really the first time the Rebellion made a big successful strike against the Empire. But man, Hera is just a badass pilot, and I just absolutely loved not only that, but just her whole thing. And Robin, I think I talked to you earlier this week. I was a little disappointed that she was captured, just because I feel like now somebody has to come save her. in some capacity. And I just don't want that to take away from the badassness that she had in this episode. But I think there's a story to tell there, and I think that will all kind of work out in the final 6 episodes. But on second watching, I didn't really get the sense that she was captured versus sacrificing herself.
Right.
So,
That's
Mark,
what I was
Oh, it seems like she just I'll get out of it. Just capture me now. I'll deal with them later.
yeah, that's a good point, Sean. Yeah, so yeah, good stuff there. Just overall, it was so tough because there's obviously the cliffhanger here. We're probably 2 months from seeing a new episode. I have a feeling it's probably going to be mid-January before we see another one. And as I talked about, we've got those 6 episodes, and we don't really even know what's coming. But as much as I really want them to wrap up the story on Lethal, I'm really sad to know there's only 6 episodes left, and I feel like there's so much that they have to tie up. But
Robin and I were talking about the other day, saying it doesn't feel like a final season. It feels like we still have more seasons to go. It feels like a lot of things are unfinished.
no, that's a great point, Sean. Robin, expand on that a little bit, but I almost feel like, well, and yeah, it's actually a really good point, Sean. I think we're all looking for that closure, but I think Filoni is the mastermind cackling behind the scenes saying, I'm going to give you no answers. I'm going to end this series, and then I'm going to be able to have all these characters available to me down the line.
Yeah, I mean, Brian, that's the term you always use, is putting these characters on the shelf at some point. And Sean, I totally agree with you. That conversation, we've been having that ever since the premiere of season 4 this year. And I have to say, I think Filoni does have a plan for these characters, and I think Lucasfilm knows what he wants to do with these characters. There's something there, because you're right, Sean, you said it perfectly. This doesn't feel like a closing of a season. In many ways, it feels like an opening to a new journey. The whole experience that we've had with Kanan and Hera, whether we see something happen there, who knows? But coming into this break, it's almost like, Brian, one of the things we said when we started this off, what are our questions? Well, it seems like every time we come to the end of an episode, it's like, there's more questions, there's more questions, there's more questions. And I think that's what they're trying to formulate, is that, where this is a final season, there is more to this story.
I mean, it's kind of like that with the Clone Wars too at the end of the season, because there was still many questions, like what happened to Barriss and what's Ahsoka's journey from now to Rebels. So all those different questions.
Chris, what's your biggest question going forward?
Excuse me. My biggest question is, well, I mean, on top of, what's going to happen with Hera and how she's going to get, out of that situation, but also, what is Kanan getting from these Loth Wolves, and what is he? I mean, he clearly knew that there's a bigger picture here, and he basically accepted the fact that he wasn't going to be able to get to Hera. He took care of the other crew and stuff, and I think that's a big thing. Is where is the Force play in this? Is it does it bring Kanan and Ezra maybe to the next level? Who knows?
Yeah, there's a lot there, Robin. I know that you've been very interested in the Loth Wolf and in kind of the natural world of the Force there, but any theories at all of what this could mean? I mean, I feel like even Kanan's acknowledgement, without using any words, that maybe he just understands more. I feel like myself, I've been looking for more meaning in the Loth Wolves. And it was funny because Dave Filoni was on, I keep going back to Rebels Recon. If you're not watching that, folks, definitely do. There's so much extra information in there that even Dave is so nonchalant about these Loth Wolves that he's like, they're your guide. They're gonna help you, but they're not gonna tell you your path, and they're not gonna, tell you what to do. And it's almost like the Force, Robin, and Lothal is is basically it's Kanan's destiny. Basically, here is with all converging on Lothal.
Yeah, there seems to be, and my mindset has changed ever since we last brought this up, Brian and Sean and Chris, on the last Rebels recap. And you said it perfectly, Brian, is that the Loth Wolf I've learned now is not necessarily a wielder of the Force or is something that the Force has created. It's just a guiding step for Kanan to really get a sense of what the Force truly is. And maybe it's because the Force really, it resides in Kanan, but he hasn't truly used it for the purpose of whether it's extending himself as a Jedi or whether it's becoming this individual, whether it's in this life or in as a Force ghost or whatever else, whatever path he takes. And coming to that realization, very much like Native American culture with the wolf, that the afterlife is the place of wealth and the afterlife is the place where one becomes themselves through a mystical power. So I think the Loth Wolf is more of a guiding force towards, not well, pun intended, really, but is a guiding force towards Kanan becoming the individual that he was truly meant to be.
That's deep.
Yeah, to piggyback on that, it's almost like the Loth Wolf is acting as a key to unlock a deeper level of the Force within Kanan. It's like it's showing him, or guiding him, showing him whatever it may be, that there's more to this, and he needs to dig deeper to get to that level. I don't know.
Sean, anything to add to any of that?
Not really. I think you guys perfectly said it. I just the thing about the local. I just love the designs of it, like how creative it is. But it's like a big wolf, but dog thing, which I love.
Like almost bird feet, almost. If you really look at its feet, it's kind of cool. Just the way they've the whole design. I agree, Sean, completely.
I like the face particularly. I don't know what it is about just the way that they were able to do that, but yeah, great stuff. I just had a thought and I just lost it. So luckily I'll be able to edit this out afterwards, but I've got myself now. So just in kind of wrapping a bow on this as much as we can, because there's so many more questions going forward, but I could be wrong. But I feel like this week when we heard the Loth Wolf speak, basically, again, I've been watching with the subtitles on, and it's been Doom as in Caleb Doom the previous two times. This time it was Doom as in DOOM.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so I was like, oh.
How do you spell Kanan's last name? Is it DOM?
DUME.
Oh, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird.
So it was just interesting, but then I'm not quite sure that I can speak unequivocally about this, because then I was just watching Rebels Recap earlier today, and they played that scene again with Dave Filoni kind of over talking about it, and they even had their own Lucasfilm subtitles in there, and then it was back to being Caleb Doom as his last name. I'm like, don't do this to me. I thought I had it all figured out.
Dave.
It's Filoni's Ahsoka Lives, or Ahsoka Lives, like t-shirt.
Doom?
yeah, Doom, question mark. I don't know. It's good stuff though, but it's been great to have the Rebels recap team back, and we've had a lot of different panelists on. I feel like we've had almost everybody on at least once now that Sean, we've been able to get you on, but
finally with all the scheduling and all that.
Yeah, and we're going to have a break here. We've got, like I said last week, got this little indie film coming out soon, The Last Jedi. I guess it was big enough they decided to have Anthony Bresnikan from Entertainment Weekly just start dropping even more knowledge on us here on Sunday afternoon. So we can look out for that this week. I don't think there's going to be any shortage of Star Wars content, but I think for the diehard Star Wars Rebels fans like ourselves, I feel like a little piece of us is going to be missing for a little bit here, Robin.
Yeah, we're going to have to find something else to keep ourselves busy. I think that there is some stuff coming up the road that you guys can keep locked on to, and don't let out of your sight. Stay on target. Stay on target, because there is a lot of stuff coming. So prepare yourselves.
Absolutely. So, all right, gentlemen, I think we're at that time of the show where we can close things up. I think it's Sean. What time is it?
What time is it? Summertime. No. It's wait. Why can't I'm having a blank right now? Holy. Oh.
It's all right, Sean. It's just plug time.
Plug. Wow. I haven't done plug time in a while. Is these burns are making me do this? No.
All right, Sean. Where can the good people
I feel like
find you on social
now.
media?
You guys can find me on Twitter, ShamanShow1. Follow my Instagram at It's Zone Z. Follow my music at Bandcamp, and SoundCloud at Zone Z.
Chris?
Vintage Viewport on Instagram and Twitter.
And Robin?
Robin? We lost him.
Yeah, I think he dropped. But so you can find Robin.
Here he comes. Robin?
Yeah, I'm here.
Robin, where can the good people find you on social media?
You guys can follow me over on Twitter at Mr. Vote Tweets. Please head on over to Instagram, follow me at The Official Vote, and head on over to Facebook and follow me over there.
And follow the Brick City Blockade on Facebook. All right, so make sure you head over to iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and subscribe to our great podcast network. We got plenty of shows like Rebels Recap. We've got just a whole bunch of stuff, and there's a lot more stuff coming. So stay tuned for more Star Wars goodness on the way, promoting our positive message in the Star Wars community. So as we normally close out all of our shows, may the Force be with you.
Always.
Always.
Always.